Virginia just became the 23rd state to overturn the death penalty after executing more than 1,300 people over its 400-year history. The governor cited a man named Earl Washington and wanted to know how many others were like him. He was exonerated back in 1985, just 9 days before he was going to be strapped into an electric chair and jolted with 2,200 volts of electricity, which would have paralyzed his brain and stopped his heart. Earl Washington was a severely disabled black man who part of his disability was how he deferred to authority. In fact, the night he was pulled over, he agreed to doing all the crimes they asked him about. One of the other death row inmates heard this story and sounded the alarm.
Your prize is right before you somehow. Whatever you do, just don't miss now.
Last year, Colorado became the 22nd state in the union to overturn capital punishment. And I heard a case for grace at a symposium for equal justice in Denver. I was the only reporter there covering the story for CBN News.
And yet, somehow, in the most extreme case of murder, we still hold out this philosophy that we can kill to show how wrong it is to kill.
Of course. Yes, I'll forgive.
But I'm thinking, I'll be out of here any minute. They're continuing their investigation, find out I didn't do anything. I was home in bed. I have a roommate that knows that. I'll be out here any minute.
3 different perspectives on the death penalty.
And anytime we celebrate the death penalty, we undermine the very possibilities of redemption.
Shane Claiborne is the author of Executing Grace.
We contradict the Christ who said, I've not come for the healthy, but for the sick.
Then she begins to scream out, Kayson's bleeding.
One could argue a sick young soul 23 years ago shot and killed the 3-year-old son of Charletta Evans.
Right now, I have taken on Raymond Johnson, the main shooter, as my son, to work with him and to be there for him.
You better get conviction in the death penalty case because that gets you recognition. At all costs, at any cost, get a conviction.
Ray Crone spent the prime of his life on death row before finally being exonerated thanks to new DNA evidence.
He came back with a match. Came back with a match to a man that was currently serving a 10-year sentence for having sexually assaulted a child just a few months after the murder. A man who at the time of the murder was paroled after doing about 4 years for sexually assaulting a woman, was paroled to his mom's house, who, guess what, was a few blocks away from the bar.
Since 1973, at least 160 people like Ray have been freed after evidence revealed they were convicted to die for crimes they never committed. These people will tell you these wrongful convictions cost them decades, wasted taxpayer dollars, and re-traumatized the victims' families, while the real killers remain unaccountable. In Denver at the state capitol, Stephanie Riggs, CBN News. 27 states still have death penalty statutes in their books. 23 states have abolished it since 2004. I would love to hear your opinion. Just go to Divine Calling with Stephanie Riggs Facebook and share your thoughts.